right, this is Birdland Tonight, but it's another podcast takeover as Section 336 is going to take over Birdland Tonight, and Birdland Tonight is also taking over the Section 336 streams. So it's a good test to see how much we can put video out on how many different places all at once and still interact with anyone watching, listening at home. So we're just going to roll right into Section 336.
Behind home plate, we bringing it to them all day. All day. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up. Welcome to Birdland. Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation of Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your endearingly southern host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by the button lover, Josh Soroka.
Hey, I was just noticing on the camera, you can tell that I'm sunburned, can't you?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
And look at those arms. It's definitely pink. And that is not the light in here. My arms are sunburned, but I got to see some baseball like in person, so it was well worth the stinging arms.
Do you not believe in suntan lotion?
I didn't think about it. Yesterday was February 28th. I didn't think about suntan lotion in February. I'm new to the Florida thing.
Clearly.
So clearly I was not prepared. I saw other people putting in suntan lotion, and it didn't click to me that I need to put on suntan lotion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're burnt, but it was for a good cause. And so all you coconuts out there are going to get a inside sneak peek preview at the Orioles season as Josh was doing some scouting down there.
Oh, I took some notes.
Yeah, Josh has some notes, so I'm going to let Josh handle the show today. As he actually has the only person sitting here who's seen the Orioles in person.
At least in the past, year and a half or something?
Yeah.
When's the last time you were at an Orioles game?
Oh, I don't know, right? Going back, I mean, it has to be, September?
Of 2019?
Yeah, 2019.
Isn't that crazy to think that it's been that long?
Yeah, even this, I was watching the spring training game today on the Philadelphia station, and it felt like it's been a while since I've watched baseball. It felt like it's been a while. I know we had baseball last year, but I think the shortened season just felt different. It didn't feel like that long baseball season where you get your baseball fill. And so it felt kind of weird watching spring training. Like I felt like I hadn't watched baseball in a while.
Right.
Like it's been a year since I've watched baseball. It kind of felt like.
You're right, 100% correct. I went down, drove to Sarasota. I decided Saturday night to get a jump on the drive, and I drove down to Tampa Saturday night and stayed in a hotel Saturday night, and then finished in the morning, drove to Sarasota, went to the game, and then drove all the way home after the game. So I spent a lot of time on the road, so I made some phone calls and talked to some people, and I was talking to someone on the way home, and I said it didn't strike me how much I missed watching baseball in person, and that it's been like almost 2 years since I've gotten to do that.
Yeah.
And for you and I, it's something where it was almost a weekly thing for a while, especially during those really fun, good years. And even on the rough years, it's at least been every other week during baseball season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Easy. And in 2019, I probably went to more games than I ever have going to my minor league games with my son.
Right.
And I was watching today. I was watching spring training game, and my son sat on my lap and watched a little bit with us or with me, and we talked about going to games again this year. And he always, but it's been a really good excuse because he always says when all the germs go away. So then I can say like anything, Silas. I was like, you know what, Silas, I'm gonna take you to the moon one day. And he says, when all the germs go away, yeah, when all the germs go away, we'll go to museums, we'll go to baseball game, I'll take you to Super Bowl, World Series,
right.
Just when all the germs go away.
At some point, he's gonna catch on.
Yeah, the germs will go away at some point.
Yeah, there's science. Science is going to figure this out.
But no, I'm pumped to go see the Orioles in person. Like just watching in spring training and seeing those fans
right.
made me very jealous.
Like,
and I'm excited to go see the regular season. I'm excited to go see my minor league games. Like I'm pumped about this year.
I think it was 2014 or 2015, one of those where I went to 26 games in a season.
Yeah.
And that, when I did the math, I'm like, wait, if baseball was year round, that would be every other week. So it's like I went from going to that many baseball games, driving down to Camden Yards all the time, and not having it for so long was weird. And it was really nice to be back in a stadium and watching live baseball.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's part of me that would always complain because, minimum we would go to 13 games a year, but often we go to more. And there was something about like having to leave work here in the Eastern Shore and, getting to dad's house on time or going there myself and finding parking.
Right.
And then the games don't end till 10. And so you don't get home till after 11. And so it was part of me was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of a nice break, not having to make that drive, not having to stay out late and all that stuff. But I'm ready for it all again. Let me leave work cranky. I want to go to bed late. I'm all for all of it.
I was always jealous of the people that lived in the city that could just walk downtown
go
to 3 innings and then leave.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like, I need to stay at least 5 innings because of the drive. But it's like, so I went there and we had all the COVID restrictions and everything now. So I was wondering what it was going to be like. And one of the rules.
Your pod.
Right. So I had a pod, and I'll get to that. But the first rule is you have to wear a mask the whole time. No big deal. I got my Orioles mask right here.
Nice.
Just wore this the whole game.
Yeah.
No problem.
I teach in a mask all day.
Yeah.
I get
it's
it.
No big deal. We're all used to masks. Nobody cares. Even in Florida, people were fine with it. I didn't see anyone fight about the mask. Other rule is no backpacks, and you can't bring in your own food. And
okay.
Those 2 rules surprised me. I don't see how that makes it safer for COVID. I think it does the opposite because now I'm waiting in line for food and stuff, and people are preparing my food versus bringing a bag with my own stuff, so I never leave my pod. But it's okay.
So obnoxious.
What?
No, but I go on Twitter on Saturday, and the first tweet I see
because I was confused.
Is you complaining about it. Meanwhile, you get to go see the Orioles, when I haven't seen them in over a year, and your first tweet is complaining about not being able to bring in your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Who the freak cares?
Because I prepared. I was all thinking.
You don't bring in food to the stadium anyway. That's not your thing. You're gonna go get some stadium food, weren't you? You were anyway.
But the stadium food at same spring training sucks.
Yeah, it's not Camden Yards.
I planned to bring stuff in to be in my pod, but it worked out okay because I needed to get out of my pod once in a while just to get a break out of the sun. The sun was killing me.
Your pod in the sun.
So my pod was, I was on the third base side, section 217, row 3. So behind the visitors' dugout. So nice seats, great angle. And here's how the pod worked. They separated everyone throughout, so you weren't sitting next to other people.
Yeah.
And then they took zip ties and they zip tied seats that were not sold tickets. So that way people couldn't wander around and sit in other seats. So if I
the seats that were not sold were zip tied.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I stuck my arms out and the closest people to me also stuck their arms out, we would not even be within like 2 feet of each other.
Okay.
Plenty of space. Which was nice. It was nice to not even have to worry about that.
Not be within 2 feet or not be within 6 feet of each other?
No, if my arms were all out and their arms were all out, we wouldn't be able to touch each other.
Oh, that seems a bit much. That seems a bit overkill.
It was further than 6 feet, definitely. Yeah. But whatever, if it makes people comfortable, it was great to see baseball in person. No autographs, no interacting with the players, which is a bummer because that's a big part of spring training.
It is.
So that's gone.
What about were you there for batting practice?
I did not see batting practice. They opened up the gates an hour before game time.
Okay.
But I didn't go in until like 30 minutes before because again, I knew there was no interaction, none of this, none of that.
What about a foul ball? Did you have multiple fans going after a foul ball, or were there rules against chasing foul balls?
People weren't. I didn't see any chasing of foul balls.
In Sarasota, I once saw a guy leap over a little bar and break his arm chasing a chasing a home run batting practice ball.
It was a finger, and it was during batting practice, and they didn't open up the stadium early enough for people to see batting practice.
Okay.
Way more subdued crowd.
Oh, yeah, I'm
way
sure.
more older crowd. Way more locals. I don't think many people traveled for this.
Yes, and I'm sure that's true. Is going to be true throughout because of all the restrictions. It's less travel appealing.
Right, exactly, and also just less tickets, so less chance to buy them. Remember, to get the ticket for the first game, I bought one of the 5-game local packages.
Right.
And most people in Baltimore aren't going to buy a 5-game plan.
Right. And when we went, it's pretty easy to pick up, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday game.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. I believe all the weekend games are sold out. I know that at least.
Okay.
Because I was able to take my other 4 games for the season and flip them on StubHub.
So are you going to any other games? Or is this it for you?
I don't know. I've got another ticket for March 28th. I've flipped the others.
That's one of the last ones, isn't it? I guess
It's one of the last ones. So I'd probably not, because of the restrictions. One is probably enough for me.
Okay.
And instead, I will sell that one too. And if the Orioles open
and
up
put it
Camden
towards the
Yards,
plane ticket to go to
I'll come
Camden
up
Yards.
to Camden Yards and see real baseball.
Right.
Where it matters. But it was good. It was fun, and I'll get to this because the big storyline of the game was Trey Mancini.
Yes. I was wondering because I was asking Josh about his experience in spring training game. How long will it take Josh to talk about the actual Baltimore Orioles, the actual baseball team, as opposed to talking about pods and lunch boxes?
Well, I didn't before this. I purposely didn't tell you anything about this because I wanted to share.
This is
about it on the podcast.
This is the first time I'm hearing any of this.
Yeah. I think you're on a group text where I texted a picture of Chris Davis just because that was the story of.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that because
I kind of ignore that group text. That's really I'm not liking what that's turning into, but that's for another day.
Really, I saw you doing a bunch of shtick on it the other day.
Oh, that was just taking shots at you. I'll take shots at you all day on there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Well, we'll discuss that another day. But the story was Trey Mancini.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
Whole time. And it was part of what was fun about this spring training game is the crowd was small. So you could overhear what other fans in
How many people you think?
1,000
people there?
1,800.
1,800. Okay.
1,800 people, which is like 20%.
Right.
Which I was
1,800 people sounds like a lot, but you put them in a big stadium.
Yeah.
And it's it's nobody.
But here's what it felt like. It didn't feel like an empty stadium. It felt like September in Camden Yards in a crappy season.
Yeah.
It felt like 10, 15, 20,000 in Camden Yards.
Game 2. Yeah.
Right. April, yeah, whatever, the first Monday game of the season. That's what it felt like. So it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it at all. It didn't feel like an empty stadium. But I think because of the subduedness, you could just hear everyone around you. And because the stadium is smaller than Camden Yards. So what was fun is hearing the pregame conversation about Trey Mancini. And they listened to this old guy, a lot of Pirate fans, because I think a lot of Pennsylvania people also retired down here. So pregame, this old guy is talking to this other old guy about Trey Mancini and explaining Trey Mancini and how he's the face of the organization. And but he didn't say anything about Trey's baseball. He was saying, of course, the good storyline about Trey beating cancer and coming back. And he said, plus, the Orioles had this young, perky reporter, blonde, perky reporter. And Trey is now dating the blonde, perky reporter. So for everyone in Baltimore, it's as if the high school quarterback and the head cheerleader are now dating.
That's cool. I did not know that was national news. That's something everybody I knew it, but I didn't know everyone knew it. Yeah.
Apparently old men are really into this.
Oh, I could totally see that.
I found it I can too, once I heard him talking about it, but it definitely made my notes of this is a weird conversation to overhear and a weird way to introduce Trey Mancini to a Pirate fan.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on Trey Mancini real quick, and it was just a cool moment to see everyone give him a standing ovation, even the Pirates, class act by the Pirates. And I mean, I went on ESPN that day on the ESPN app, and they have the big story right when you open up the ESPN app, and it was Trey Mancini, and it was video of Trey Mancini getting a standing ovation. So it's good to see. I mean, we talked before how whenever there's Orioles news and Orioles coverage, it seems to always be negative. So this is great to see an Orioles positive story. And people gripe that and it's I think it's a fair gripe that Trey Mancini's first return to baseball, and Josh is the only one who can see it, right? Because it wasn't televised, which is I think that's gripe worthy, but it doesn't take away from just what a cool moment it was for Trey Mancini and for the Orioles.
And all those gripe worthy people have a point of, wait, so you have all these cameras that are videotaping everything that happens.
Right, I got to see a home run in like 3 different angles by Diaz. Right. 3 different angles of his home run.
But
what is that?
You just can't go and press the go live button on Masson. I mean, it's got to work just like when we go live on here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to waste time on this topic, but
it's silly.
It makes no sense. Zero sense.
They don't even. It doesn't. It's really weird. I will say, if you go and watch those 3 angles of Trey Mancini, you know the angle where you see all the Pirates clapping?
Yeah.
Well, that is, if you look closely, you can see a guy sitting like 4 rows up all by himself in a black hat.
I'll have to go back and rewatch that clip.
I got into the Trey Mancini highlight because I stand out because I'm all by myself.
I'm going to go back and rewatch that clip for you.
You'll see me there.
Yeah.
But, obviously the standing ovation and the Pirates clapping, but the Pirates that were on the field and the ones in the dugout clapping, that was cool.
Yeah.
You rarely see the ones in the field clapping when stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you saw other people on, was it Russell Wilson, I think, had a tweet about it.
Yes.
And other athletes were tweeting about it, which it's a testament to, how big of a deal it is, right? To defeat cancer and come back the next year and play baseball. It's a big deal. And I'm glad it's getting kind of the national attention that it deserves.
And he probably will. There's no reason to not say, just like Alex Smith was predictable for the NFL, Trey Mancini will win Comeback Player of the Year. We'll at least get that award.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to play a little bit well, right? We have to wait and see.
Who else is coming back?
I don't know. I don't know what other comeback stories there are in baseball this year.
All he's got to do is make it for the whole year, because who overcame cancer and then played a full baseball season?
Are you concerned that King Felix is going to go out and win the Cy Young and maybe take the award from him or something?
No, because he won't. What's he coming back from?
Sucking?
Right.
Yes.
Sorry, but going from sucky to Cy Young is not as good as beating cancer.
All right.
So I don't think we got to worry about that. But I hope that instead of that, he gets an all-star vote and all that. How much do you think that first pitch was grooved over the plate for him?
Yeah, I mean, you watch some of these spring training games, it seems like a lot of pitchers are grooving pitches, just trying to throw strikes.
The Orioles pitchers are. They're struggling with.
But yeah, I mean, I hope they groove him pitches like that in the regular season.
Yeah, but great story, great fun to see him go out there. The Orioles pitching, I don't know if you got to see the box scores or listen to the radio broadcast from yesterday, but the Orioles pitching sucks. Tom Eshelman could not even get the ball over the plate. Tom Eshelman struggled so much that they ended the first inning with 2 outs because his pitch count was so high.
Yeah.
That they just stopped.
Yeah, that's bad when you have to shut. I wish they could do that in the regular season, but I don't think they'll let us off that easy in the regular season.
No, I don't think so. So that was disappointing. And I was hoping one of the guys out of the pen would at least be okay, and I didn't really see anything to stand out with pitching. So that was frustrating. Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna. I guess we can talk about some of the stuff today on the show, but these stats, Tom Eshelman having a bad start, all this stuff means zero to me. It affects me nothing. You can put zero stock in a bad Tom Eshelman start as much as you can put zero stock in a DJ Stewart first at bat home run. It's not anything. It's not anything. And so now if Tom Eshelman pitches and every start looks like that, well then I hope he doesn't make the roster and head to Baltimore. But Tom Eshelman, I mean, we're not talking about John Means either here, right? We know who Tom Eshelman is at this point. I'm a little surprised at this point he's still on the roster, to be honest. Well,
you can't really, just because he pitched the first game doesn't mean he ends up on the roster.
Right. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised we even brought him back, but as even a possibility.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, the pitching wasn't good yesterday. I mean, I saw people on Twitter focusing on some good things they saw. I think that's good. You can focus on good things, I guess. But even the good things, like, okay, like you just kind of nod your head and move on. I mean, I think at this point, you're still looking at beards and bellies at this point. You can't take anything away from 4 innings
right
that these hitters play or the inning that this pitcher pitches.
Right, exactly. In today's game, which it was cool, we got to watch on the MLB app.
Yep.
You saw the Rule 5 guy Wells look pretty good.
Yeah, and Wells kind of weird to me. I don't understand his delivery. It felt like he was falling over every pitch. A lot of them going outside. I don't really like Wells. Yeah. I was more impressed with
Scroller.
Is it Scroller? Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I was more impressed with that guy because there's not. Too. Unfortunately, there's no there's no radar gun, so you couldn't see how fast the pitches were. Mm-hmm. But he was throwing. It was like the first batter specifically. I was watching it. Down 3-0, threw a fastball, blew it by him. 3-1, threw a fastball, blew it by him. So even when they were sitting on fastballs, they seemed to be behind, and he just got in trouble with a little bit of his control, which is perfectly understandable because it's his first start at Major League camp or whatever, his first appearance in Major League camp, trying to impress to make the team. So it's understandable he's nervous. Hasn't pitched above single A ball, but I mean, things you look for in spring training are like velocity for pitchers, like velocity. Are they throwing hard? And it looked like that cat, Mac. It looked like Mac was throwing hard. So that's that was encouraging, even though there was no kind of miles per hour there, so it's hard to tell that. But it looked like he was throwing hard, and the curveball looked nice too. He just so yeah, he was impressive.
I liked the only pitcher that I thought looked good on Sunday is Abad. I was happy with Abad's performance.
Okay. And
he walked a guy. Now, part of it is he came in right after Eshelman, and Eshelman just took forever at the mound and walked 2 guys and stuff. So it didn't have to do much for me to be like, oh, Abad's a little better.
Yeah, and honestly, when I'm watching these games, like if Abad's pitching, I probably am going to go do something else because, I mean, even if he makes a team, here's a guy who's pitching for 50 years. Like, you kind of know what you get with Abad. I'm looking at the Rule 5 guys. I'm looking at these younger players. Like today, I was watching Zach Lothar, my first time watching Zach Lothar on TV. I don't think I ever saw him in person at Bowie, but it's I'm really kind of interested and curious to watch him pitch, and even the at bats like Stevie Wilkerson's at bat. I might half pay attention, but then when some of these younger players are playing, like Yusniel Diaz, like I'm watching him hit.
Yeah, and Sunday I spent a lot of time watching Ryan Bannon at third base.
Ryland Bannon, yeah.
Ryland Bannon.
Yeah.
Because I was on that third base side, and I saw, and it's like, that's clearly a kid out there. I want to see if he can hold his own at third base.
Yeah, and that's going to be an intriguing thing because personally, I'm kind of done with Ruiz. Like, I don't know how much Ruiz, our starting third baseman right now.
I don't know if he's our starting third baseman.
Yeah, I don't know about him. And Ruiz, you've seen enough of him, and I feel he's kind of weird, right? Because usually, if you see a guy play the past couple of years, almost every day, like you feel like you have a good idea of who this guy is. And Ruiz, I don't even know. Like I can't even decide if he's good defensively or not. I don't know if he's a streaky hitter, but occasionally it looks like he hits for power, but then he'll go on these long streaks where he doesn't hit at all. So Ruiz to me is, I don't know, a bit of a mystery. Yeah. And so if Ryland Bannon can step in and be a more consistent option at third base, I think, that's pretty interesting. And it's about time, age-wise, prospect-wise. He's played at the highest level of minors. He's getting a little older now. So Ryland Bannon, this feels like his time to fight for that third base spot.
Yeah, I got to see Ryan Ripken play some first base.
Cute.
Which was cool to see a Oriole jersey that said Ripken on the back.
Yes.
Nothing else about it. I think he struck out twice.
Yeah, I'm sure it's cool for him too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that his grandmother died yesterday as well.
Yeah, that was sad news here in Birdland. I mean, the Ripken name is synonymous with Oriole sports, and that includes Viv Ripken. So that's
Yeah, I thought she died years ago, but still sad.
Well, no, I mean, she was, what was it?
She was kidnapped years ago or something, right?
Yeah, how long ago was that? I felt like that was like 3 years ago, but maybe that was a lot longer than that.
I think it must have been longer.
But that was the last time she was
kidnapping when it was an adult.
Yeah, that was that's still, I don't know, that's still a weird story to me.
Right.
I don't really
feel
know
like
what happened.
even when she returned, they were still trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Right.
But yeah, that's very sad news for the Ripken family. But cool opportunity for Ryan Ripken,
Yeah.
and you hope he makes the best of being in big
Yeah.
league camp. He's not going to make the 40-man roster. He's not going to make the team,
This
but it's a
might
good chance for him to showcase his skills.
This might be his last chance to have an invite to spring training.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, it very well could
We'll
be.
see. I mean, who knows what he could impress in the minors, I guess, but still cool to see him in Orioles jersey.
Yep.
I texted you the picture of Chris Davis and his changed batting stance. So
yes,
right now we talked about on I think it was on the last Birdland Tonight. We talked about the fact that he looked bulkier in some of the shady beards and bellies pictures that were coming out. And he does look like a bulky player. He looks like your old softball player right now.
Mm-hmm.
So his new batting stance is his legs are a little wider, his bat's lower, more closer to his shoulder instead of he used to have that high at bat, more of the slugger angle where you're getting more of that swing motion. So he's definitely brought it down to a shorter stride. He struck out and then hit a ball that was an error. So he got on base
scored a run.
That scored a run, yes.
Yeah.
He did score a run.
That run does not score without Chris Davis's bat.
True.
So I don't know why you're trying to knock the guy.
No, he should have gotten an RBI, but the error did not, it didn't count as an RBI because of the error. But It would have been an RBI if the guy would have just made the out. So who knows? We'll see what Chris Davis can do. He said you'll notice a difference. Yes, he looks like a different player. The problem is, can he go on the field?
I disagree. I think if you just turned on the game and you turned on Chris Davis's bat, I don't think you would tell a difference. Now, if you want to stop there and think about it, analyze it, you could notice those things like the raised bat and stuff and a little bit wider stance. But I'm sorry. If you just are just popping on and turn on Chris Davis, your first thought isn't going to be, oh, Chris Davis is trying something new with a new stance.
Of course not.
It looks close to the previous stance. Minor adjustments, but nothing
lower,
major.
The legs are a little wider.
Yes, minor adjustments.
But what do you think he's going to do and move to the Mickey Tettleton super tight? Every adjustment's going to be minor.
Is it though? When Jim Palmer called him out for making no adjustments, the next day he came out with a big old adjustment.
Yeah, and that didn't work. I don't know. Who cares? Let's just see.
You think Chris Davis's swing just needs a little minor tweak?
Yeah. I think he's a professional ball player.
No,
I don't know
nonsense.
If it's I don't know. I think what he needs. I think it's a mental game with him.
If Josh, if you were Chris Davis's psychiatrist and he came to see you, what advice would you give Chris Davis to get out of this Orioles hit slump?
Ooh, that's an interesting idea. I wonder. Have you ever seen the not a therapist, but a hypnotist? You know how you can hypnotize people to stop smoking? Have you seen that?
Or to recall their abduction experiences.
Right,
sure.
or to buck like a chicken. Sure.
Yeah.
But maybe Chris Davis should see a hypnotist to help him stop seeing that called strike three. I mean, hey, at least it was a swinging strike. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I like Chris Davis as a person, so I always try to give him the benefit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'm the psychiatrist, I'm saying, dude, you have two of the most brilliant minds in sports right now in Michael Elias and Sig Mejdal. They're doing some amazing things with hidden development, and you have access to them at any time.
Well, and that's what they said. Apparently, that happened this offseason.
Yeah, I don't know. And 2 off seasons ago, he was spending his summer with the hitting coach in Texas, but apparently the hitting coach never went to Texas.
Yeah, that was a lie.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. At least from the quotes I read, I don't think he fully bought into Mejdal and Elias and the Sabermen. I don't think he fully kind of has given over. I'm sure, maybe he had a meeting with them or something, maybe, and talked about him. But
all right, here's what I'll say. What I liked, he got 2 at bats. One was a strikeout, one was a fly ball.
Right. Again, those bats mean nothing.
Right. We can't really judge much.
No.
But I do like that the fly ball, he was going opposite because it meant that he did not hit into the shift. And I really think the shift has killed him over the years. So if he has adjusted his timing a little bit to be able to beat the shift, that's going to slightly help him.
But I think that's nothing new. I think he's always hit the ball opposite field in the air. The problem was on the ground, he tends to pull it, but on the air, I think sometimes he goes the other way. But yeah, Josh, do you think Oriole fans are a little bit too rough on Chris Davis?
I don't know. I mean, here's what I think. I think Oriole fans that blame Chris Davis for destroying the organization, or blame Chris Davis for the Orioles not having Manny Machado, or blame Chris Davis for Peter Angelos' decisions, are a little rough on Chris Davis. I also think there's a whole lot of people in Baltimore that like Chris Davis the person and apologize for Chris Davis all the time.
Oh, really? I don't see those people at all. Like, even when I tweet good things about Chris Davis, I hope it's clear I'm being sarcastic. I really don't mean any of those things. And I think that's how a lot of people are. Like, when I say he's going to have a bounce back year, I hope no one actually means that when they tweet that. I think they're being funny. I
purposely only sent the picture of Chris Davis privately and not on Twitter because I didn't want to deal with comments.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the problem is Peter Angelos is out of the picture.
Yes.
There's no other. Oriole fans are unhappy. Yeah, you're unhappy with the direction of this team. You're unhappy that you're not competitive. You're unhappy for a lot of reasons. I'm unhappy as Oriole fans for a lot of reasons. And who am I supposed to be mad at? Am I supposed to be mad at Ryan Mountcastle?
Right.
I'm not going to be mad at Trey Mancini. Am I supposed to be mad at these pitchers? Tom Eshelman? I'm not going to be mad at Tom Eshelman. I don't care about Tom Eshelman. So who am I going to be mad at? And unfortunately, that's all the attention, and the negative attention goes nowhere else. And there's no positive attention outside of Trey Mancini. So there's a lot of negative attention, and it kind of all ends up on the doorstep of Chris Davis, which is probably unfair to him.
It is. It's unfair, but at the same time, I also think that if Chris Davis performed the way he performed before the contract, after the contract, we might not be in this rebuilding phase. Because I think if you had a bat like that in the lineup, you would be more intrigued to build around that. So I think there's a little fairness that way as well. But again, you can't put the pressure of the entire organization on one player.
Right. And at this point, the past 2 years, there is no expectations for Chris Davis.
Right.
If Chris Davis gets 2 hits this year, I think he will exceed expectations because everyone expects him to strike out every single time up, 75% of the time looking, 25% of the time swinging, but we expect him to strike out every single time. So there's no expectations now for Chris Davis.
Right. Of course not.
So I don't know. And we're going to talk about this all season. I'm already tired of it. We're going to talk about all season where if the Orioles, the talk is now that it's possible the Orioles carry 14 pitchers, which I didn't even know you could do that. 14.
Okay?
Because on MLB The Show, it will only let me carry 13, and it says I violated some kind of roster rule when I try to carry 14 guys. So I don't even know if it's legal. But the talk that 14, if you have 14 guys, pitchers, it means you only have 12 position players, which means, if you're starting 9, you only got 3 bench spots. And how can one of those guys be Chris Davis? And that means you only have 2 other bench spots to give to a Bannon or a Jones or whomever else you want to give it to, or DJ Stewart. So if we go with a lot of 14 pitchers, and maybe we won't, maybe we'll go with 13. I don't think we're going to go with 12. It's just Chris Davis he's going to, and that's the thing too, right? Because he's going to continue to be on this team, but he's not going to play every day if he doesn't play well. Hyde won't play him. And so he's just going to be on the roster, on the bench, while someone else in the minors, maybe Yusniel Diaz, starts hitting home runs. And so now we're going to be sitting at Chris Davis when we have Yusniel Diaz at Norfolk, and it's just going to make everyone so mad that we can't watch Yusniel Diaz. And it might not be a one-to-one correlation, but that's what we're going to think. Like, we can't watch Yusniel Diaz because Chris Davis is keeping a roster spot.
Do you know what Chris Davis's WAR is for his career as a Baltimore Oriole?
I have 10.
It's 14 offensively, 12 overall.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, which is higher than you would think because those first few years were so heavily weighted.
Yeah. I mean, and even like a really good year, you're going to be in positive WAR. A really bad year, like you're going to be 0, maybe negative 0.5. So, yeah, I feel like if you have a really high WAR, it's a little bit hard to go down.
It's going to be interesting to see how long Davis is the story. Because
and it's going to be all year if there's good players in the minors.
Yeah, maybe. And if Davis plays well, then one bad game and everyone's instantly going to say, "Oh, he lost it. Magic's gone."
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? This is where it gets a little unfortunate. But I mean, if he has a bad first game, second game,
you're done.
Oriole fans going to boo him, including this guy. I'm going to boo him.
Right.
Like, I'm going to boo him, and he deserves. I'm sorry, and I know some people out there don't like to boo Oriole fans. I mean, don't like to boo their own players. I am strongly opposed to that. I think these players make a lot of money, and if they suck, they should be booed. It's part of the territory. I would want to be booed if I suck too. There were some softball games where you could boo me out of there, and I would take it because I'm a man. I'm a grown up. It doesn't have to be a man; it's just a grown up. Right. I don't want to get all Mr. Potato Head on you, but it's just a grown up. Okay. So I can handle it. But so I think it's okay to boo him, and he is like one bad game. You're right, Judge. One bad game, and so his start is really important because.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. His start's important, but he's going to start bad. Like there's no other way for him to start. I feel like it's going to be bad. And so whatever, hold him to your butts. This is again, though, this is also the cool thing about Davis is just so many interesting storylines. The other thing is outside the contract and keeping up a roster spot and will he play is this also is a window into the Mike Elias, Brandon Hyde power struggle. I think so. Because you cannot tell me that manager Hyde wants Davis on his team. There's no way you can tell me that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you.
So the longer Hyde is there, I mean, the longer Davis is there, it's just Elias.
Well, I think.
And maybe Angelos is.
Well, that definitely is part of letting Putt and Trey at first base. Yes, on Sunday. Let's get Trey comfortable playing first base.
Yeah, it seems like
we don't want to put Davis at first base. We'd rather have Trey there.
It seems like that's going to be the deal. Ryan Mountcastle on left and Trey at first, right?
Yeah. Now, first play hit the Trey, a grounder. He went to throw it to second base for a double play and threw an error. And
first hit to Ryan Mountcastle. I think it was the first. Maybe it wasn't the first. But he lost today.
He lost it in the sun.
He lost in the sun.
Hey, that Florida sun's high.
Yeah, and again. Means nothing to me. I thought Ryan Mountcastle played defensively well last year. You know, but what's outrageous is what's outrageous about those plays is it's an easy catch. It's an easy catch, and he loses in the sun.
Right.
But it goes as a double because like his glove never touched it.
Yeah, I know.
Those are weird scoring plays.
Baseball stats. Because it's really all subjective. What's an error and what's not. Umpires were having a tough time on Sunday as well, though.
They always have a tough time.
Yeah, multiple confusion like moments and plays for the game on Sunday.
It was trending on Twitter where one announcer, I forget whoever was at Angel Hernandez, whatever game he was umping, and the announcer said after a strike was called a ball, well, and Angel Hernandez is in midseason form.
Yeah.
So
definitely
even announcers getting onto the umps.
Yeah, I saw that with Davis. There was a real high pitch, like shoulder high, that was called a strike, and Davis just looked at the umpire.
It's their first game umping two in a while, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Other takeaways from your spring training?
Well, the other news is Cedric Mullins, no longer a switch hitter.
Yeah. I saw that.
So, this has to be the Michael Elias Sigmidel approach of finally someone went to him and said, "Hey, look. You look at your splits. You're 300 on one side of the plate, and you're like 117 on the other side of the plate. Why don't you just stop the other side of the plate and focus on the side that works?"
Yeah, I feel like we have that conversation all the time. I feel like Matt Wieters, we're having the conversation a bunch too. Like I feel like the conversation happens a lot when a guy is really good from one side or really bad the other side. I guess the question becomes then, like, so now he's hitting only from the left side,
right? I
believe. So when a lefty comes in, and now it's lefty versus lefty, will his batting average be better than 117 or whatever it was? I guess we'll find out.
I don't know. I think a lot of times the switch hitters, the habit is they think that's such a great added bonus to them that they focus on the struggle inside to be like, all right, it's an advantage for me to be a switch hitter, so let me work on this without thinking, well, if I just learned to hit a left-hander from the left side, maybe I'd do better than the 117.
Yeah, and if I think if you're going to choose a side, and it's good that left-handed is good. Like I think it might have been a different conversation if he was dominant right-handed.
Right.
But if you're dominant left-handed and that's your good side, well, go with that because the majority of pitchers you face are going to be left-handed pitchers. I'm sorry, going to be right-handed pitchers,
yes.
which as a left-handed hitter is your advantage. So,
and I think it makes sense for Elias and Sig and Hyde to go to him and say, hey, there's a good chance you're split in center field with Austin Hayes. So focus on the left. Hayes is a right-hander, right?
He is, but I don't. Yeah. I think there's no way they're splitting.
You don't think they're splitting?
No, they're not splitting.
So what are you going to put? One in center, one in right?
Maybe. I mean, I think Cedric Mullins has the platoon option. I think, like I still view Cedric Mullins like the fourth outfielder,
right?
Defensive replacement. Like I want Austin Hayes to play every day.
Yeah. So Cedric Mullins is your guy that can get started.
But Josh, what you just said,
the opposite.
What you're saying. But what you just said implied that you just start Austin Hayes against lefties.
No.
So like once every fifth day when you play a lefty, you'll play Austin Hayes.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
no, I'm wrong.
Yeah. So I think, but no, you're not. It's not just you. I've heard other people say that.
But you're right. That doesn't make any sense. Hayes is the guy that is going to be primarily out there.
He had a couple of line hits too today.
It's more of having that lefty on the bench is a better angle. That you got that lefty in the bench that can go in for Santander or whoever or Mountcastle, whoever's playing left field.
Yeah, and I mean Mullins is still. I think Mullins is great to have on the team for pinch running at the end of the games. And then if you had a situation with I don't know, I'm trying to think who he would pinch hit for as an upgrade when you get the lefty, but you have a righty bullpen arm come in.
And you want some speed on the base. You want someone to put down a bunt.
Yeah,
that type of.
And we'll see because the interesting thing about Cedric Mullins is the jury's still out on him because remember he had a great year. He was the heir apparent to Adam Jones.
We've never seen anyone praised like that, like the handoff from Jones.
Yeah,
like I don't think Ryan Minor didn't get that type of handoff from Cal.
Well. You never like it was a crazy rise to stardom for Cedric Mullins, and then just as quickly it was like AAA, and then he couldn't even hit AAA, so all the way back down to AA a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and so now we're still left to wonder how good is Cedric Mullins?
Right, he got a little of that Bowie magic last year.
Yeah, and then he came back and he looked pretty good, and then you wonder Austin Hayes is a question mark too as far as health goes. And you wonder if, like, I don't know, do you want to play Austin Hayes 5 days a week and not every day?
Right, because of health.
Because of, he's never played a full season before.
Maybe Cedric Mullins becomes the Sunday lineup type guy.
Yeah, and maybe even twice a week or something, depending on how you can do Austin Hayes in DH every now and then. I don't know, but it's a crowded outfield too. But I think, I think a lefty
DH also.
It's crowded DH. Yeah, we got Yeah, so it's going to be some interesting decisions. I mean, I was just thinking about this the other day. There's so many players that aren't guaranteed a roster spot. Yeah, aren't guaranteed a 26-man. There's so many bubble guys on this team right now. It's kind of ridiculous.
I thought DJ Stewart looked good.
Another bubble guy.
I thought Diaz looked good.
Another bubble guy.
There's a good chance neither of those guys are on this opening day roster.
It's possible. Very possible with Diaz. Possible with Stewart. Yeah.
I mean, who are the guaranteed roster spots? Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, your shortstop.
Second base. Who's at second base?
Well, even that, it's Yo Sanchez. And I don't know if he's guaranteed over a guy like Jahmai Jones.
Yeah, you're right. Jahmai Jones might be able to take that. All right, so Freddie Galvis is guaranteed at short. Trey is guaranteed. Ryan Mountcastle, I think, is guaranteed.
Yes.
Santander is guaranteed. And Austin Hayes is guaranteed, I think.
Yes. And
right? So, all right. So you got your outfield set. You've got a first baseman. You got a third base.
You got a first base and third base. You don't have a third base.
Oh, no. First base and shortstop.
Shortstop. Yeah.
All right. And then your catcher is guaranteed.
Both your catchers, I think Severino and Cisco, they're set. They're the only guys on our 40-man.
Right. The only spot there's really not a position battle is catcher.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, you've got multiple options.
Yep. And I would say shortstop is set too.
Probably so, yes. Yeah. I think if anything, some of the guys vying for shortstop, you might look at for third base or second base.
Yeah, like you might see if a guy can spell Freddie Galvis and play a shortstop occasionally, and also play third or second.
Right. Where you're not fighting for that shortstop position, you're fighting for that infield utility guy, especially if we're carrying 14 pitchers, like you're saying, which then leaves you with what, 2 bench guys, an infield guy and an outfield guy.
Well, I'm saying if you're talking about a 6-man rotation, yeah, then maybe we can start the conversation. I don't know. Like I just think it's, yeah, I don't know. Even with a 13-man rotation,
where do you put all the guys?
Well, if it's a 6-man rotation, a lot of those guys can hang out in the dugout.
Yeah, and with COVID, they're probably hanging out like in the locker room watching on TV.
Yeah, that's probably true too. So. Josh, were there any? I was also just laughing because there were a handful of players that I watched like yesterday and today, or like I saw their name in the box score from yesterday and watched today. That names I had never heard these names before. Were there any guys with you like I've never heard that name before in my life? There's a couple guys for me.
Yeah, on both days. I'm just pulling up. There was definitely some pitchers yesterday that I was like, who? Like Handhold. Who's Handhold?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, who's Matson?
Oh no, Matson. Matson came in the Dylan Bundy trade.
All right, who's Diplin? Yeah,
Diplin was another guy. I don't know.
All right. I've heard of Green and I've heard of Watkins, so I was all right with them. Who is Mayhas Breen?
Yeah, that's another guy that I marked. Yeah,
Seth
Mayhas Breen. Apparently a veteran. Like I had to look him up. He's 29 years old. He's played for Cincinnati and Seattle and San Diego. Last year he played 12 games with San Diego. But yeah, I'd never heard of the guy.
Those were all the guys on Sunday that I was like, what? Who are these guys?
The other guy, I don't remember this is today. I guess it was today I saw him. Nick Ciofo or something. Nick Ciofo, the catcher.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd never heard of him. He was the only other guy.
Today I also never heard of Jordan Westberg.
You never heard Jordan Westberg?
No. Should I have? Am I an idiot that I didn't know who Jordan Westberg was?
Only he came out in, was it last year's draft or 2-year drafts ago, shortstop. I think like second round guy. He was drafted in a recent draft. That's the only reason why I know.
Okay. All right. What about Brett Cumberland?
Yeah, Brett Cumberland's been with the organization for a couple
years. I know he's an old guy, but
yeah, he's been with the organization a few years.
All right. But yeah, that's all. I mean, that's always the fun part of spring training.
Do you get into these late inning games, all the 89s and 90 number come in, and you're like,
well, yeah, like Ryan Ripken, his number is 99.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why the Orioles. I know you don't get to pick your number when you're like that low down the totem, but they should have just gave him 88, just for his dad.
That would have been cute.
It would have been something. You could have sold some Ryan Ripken jerseys if you made it 88.
Would you buy a Ryan Ripken jersey at 88?
No. And if I saw someone wearing one, I'd think it was a misprint.
Were they selling any concessions down there? Like, were the merchandise store, was that open? Could you buy stuff?
Yeah. So everything was open. They didn't have all the little carts, like Chick-fil-A carts and stuff. Those were all gone.
Look at Josh getting all excited. He's all right, we're not talking about the Orioles anymore. Let's talk about the stadium.
Oh, no, this is my experience. So
yeah.
Share with you. They had their concession stuff open, and they had the store open, but I didn't go in the store because they were doing the like controlled number of people in the store. So there was a long line to get into the store the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever I walked past, it was a long line, and they had that spot where they put everyone writes in the lineups, and that place was just congested with everyone wanting to take pictures of the lineups. So apparently, right there,
like right when you walk in, the big lineup cards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everyone was there taking pictures. But no, Orioles did a good job. Everything, no physical tickets. You had to have it on your phone, and scanned it in. I just thought it was weird that they wouldn't do physical. They wouldn't do paper tickets. You had to have it on your phone. So when I went through, and you know how you hold up your phone for the person to scan?
Yeah.
The guy takes my phone from me and then scans it and then gives it back to me.
Oh.
And I'm like, wait, so now you're touching every person's phone? How does that help?
Yeah.
He was wearing a glove, but it's not like he changed the glove between taking phones.
COVID passing rate is very low on touch surfaces, just FYI. But
it's very low in Florida also in that sunlight.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe any COVID that got on my arms was killed by the sunburn.
That's true. It's true. It's true. Like all these things are true. And outdoor seating. I mean, I've been reading up on just going back to school. I've been reading up on some more stuff. Just how safe it is to go to school, and like how like, is it really important wearing masks that kids sit 6 feet apart indoors? Should I crack a window? Does that make a difference? Like, I just been reading about all these things, and like just like outdoors, it's just so incredibly safe outdoors. Like you have to be up in someone's grill for a long period of time outdoors. So like it just makes so much sense for baseball to have fans. I'll be really upset if baseball decides, or specifically the Orioles, because I think it might be a city to city thing, right? So if the Orioles decide not to have fans,
and it's not even the Orioles. Come on, it's the Orioles are a business. The Orioles want fans in there.
Yeah,
they're already losing a bunch of money. They'd like to make some of it back.
Yeah. So is this a Larry Hogan, or is it a Mayor Scott decision?
This is a Mayor Scott decision.
Well, that's unfortunate. We'd be better off if it was a Governor Hogan decision, as far as I think that goes.
And that's your weekly politics section of Section 336.
Hey, man. Hey, if politics get in the way of me seeing J-Man seeing opening day, look out.
No, I agree. I am disappointed that the city of Baltimore has not made a decision yet. I mean, you're talking, what, a month? Yeah, today's March 1st. So you're talking a month. They've got to make a decision and announce it so that the Orioles, I'm sure the Orioles are planning for fans to be in there.
Yeah.
But they got to do that so they can figure out and sell the tickets and all that.
Yeah, I don't expect them to make an announcement anytime soon, though, right? I mean, I was listening to Buster Olney this past week, and he was speculating that baseball might decide to have expanded playoffs this year again. It's like, how can you?
How do you do that?
Well, he said last year they made it about a week before the season started.
Right.
And he's saying they might come back again and vote for expanded playoffs again, since it's a win for owners and players.
Yeah, but I thought owners were trying to hold that for like bargaining chip.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Give up that bargaining chip.
But I mean, the point is, like, nothing's set in stone, and the way this thing's going, like, people make decisions last minute, and so
yeah, I know the Braves are selling tickets and have announced people will be in their stadium.
Yeah, the Orioles have yet to do that, but hopefully
soon.
Yeah.
So, what is now, after 2 spring training games, what is the state of the Orioles for this week?
The state of the Orioles?
The state of the Orioles.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess, I mean, there's nothing that we saw, I think, that would say the state of the Orioles is down. It's kind of weird, right? Because across baseball, there's still a lot of free agents that are like unsigned. It still strikes me as weird. Like, the guy I always think about as kind of representative for all this stuff, but it's not just about him, but now I'm blanking on his name. The Cincinnati Reds former Dodge Puig. That Puig can't find a major league contract. Still kind of, just I find kind of shocking.
We know he's got one on the table from the Orioles. It's probably a minor league deal for not much money, but the Orioles have sent stuff out. They've sent them to everyone.
Yeah. Also, like, another guy who's not signed, Matt Wieters.
Oh, really? He's not back with the Cardinals?
No, he's still the free agent.
We could use a catcher.
Yeah.
Bring him back.
So it's just, I don't know. Ryan Braun, there's a bunch of veterans. Jackie Bradley Jr., I think, is still unsigned. Yasiel Puig, of course, just still unsigned. Nick Markakis is still unsigned, I believe. So yeah, just can we bring in Matt Wieters and Nick Markakis? Would you support bringing back those two guys? I would.
Yeah, I mean, this year doesn't mean anything. You need placeholders. Those are veterans.
I would rather have them than Chris Davis and Tom Eshelman. Can we make that trade? No. Yeah. So it's just so it's something to I guess overall in baseball, it's just a weird time in baseball, I feel like. But as far as the Orioles go, I think we're the same. I don't think at this point it seems like we're set. Like, even though there's still some free agent pitchers available still, if we wanted to bring another veteran pitcher, it seems like there's still a bunch of guys left out there. But it seems like the Orioles are, I mean, they already have a bunch of pitchers competing for those jobs. So I don't expect them to make any other signings. I think they're happy with the infield depth at this point with Jahmai Jones. And so I don't see them making any moves there. We already talked about how the outfield is already crowded. Bullpen wise, I think we have a bunch of intriguing arms in the bullpen. I mean, we saw Josh Rogers pitch again, which is fun to see him pitch. I thought Evan Phillips looked pretty good. So I think there's a lot of intriguing arms, not to mention the 2 Rule 5 guys. So I think the state of the Orioles is the same. I don't expect the Orioles. I'll be surprised, even though there's available free agents. I would be surprised if the Orioles make any more moves at this point. I think it's just about keeping the guys we have, and I hope over the course of next week, something I'm watching all these young players, and the other thing I'm watching is, can some of these veterans like Felix Hernandez, and like what's the Dark Knight, Matt Harvey, can these guys make a case, like not just on the team because they're there, but can they like warrant a 26-man spot and like pitch well enough to earn that spot? And that's something I'm curious to see.
Right. In this season, where it's really not about this season, as fans of baseball, we would love those guys to do well enough to earn a spot, because then you'd get we would love the opportunity to see Matt Harvey and Felix pitch as Orioles. That would be fun as just baseball fans.
Yeah, and I don't want to see, and what I don't want to see is Zach Lothar out pitch King Felix, but they take King Felix just because they don't want to bring up Zach Lothar. Yeah,
no, because then that's just a sad story.
Yeah, so I want like King Felix to pitch better than Zach Lothar, and I don't want Zach Lothar to pitch bad. I want them both to pitch really well to make it a tough decision on who to bring up, and I want them to choose King Felix if he pitches well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm looking for. And the Rule 5 guys, these pitchers always pitch. I mean, Yusniel Diaz, we said it when we saw him in spring training. When did we go to spring training? I feel like we watched him in spring training like 4 years ago or something.
Yeah, I think it's been 4 years since we've gone.
But I remember seeing him when he first got here from the Dodgers in that Manny Machado trade, and the dude has big arms, big power.
Yeah.
And I know he had some injury issues and consistency issues, but man, that guy's got raw power. Former top 100 prospect. Yusniel Diaz is a guy I'm really pumped about. And if he doesn't make the opening day roster, he's the guy that, I don't want the Orioles to trade Anthony Santander, but if you're telling me we trade Santander and then we replace Santander with Yusniel Diaz, you could start to convince me, okay, maybe I'm okay with the Santander trade.
Right. And that's one of the ones where you'll say, okay, well, that's not anything special for this year, but long term, that makes sense. Diaz will live up to that. Yeah.
And so I'm pumped about him. I don't know how to feel about DJ Stewart. I know he's lost some weight this offseason. He seems to be in good shape. Hit the dong.
He's definitely standing taller in the box.
Yeah, but DJ Stewart, I always feel like you can't trust this guy because he could go. I saw his stats last year. I couldn't believe it. He had like 150 or something. I remember going on a Babe Ruth streak. How are you going on a Babe Ruth streak for 2 weeks and still only bat 150?
Yeah, that's.
But remember, he was off to that awful start. That's why he got off to such a terrible start.
Right.
So, and this sounds like DJ Stewart. I mean, some guys are fighting for roster spots. Sometimes guys are fighting for their careers. And this very much feels like DJ Stewart's fighting for his career right here.
Because, I mean, this is the year. If he's going to get an invite to the majors, if he's going to get the chance to make his mark, it's got to be this year. Otherwise, the young guys are going to catch up.
Diaz will be there. Kjerstad is right behind it. By the way, I don't even know what happened. I know Kjerstad has that. He had something in the offseason.
Yes.
Did we officially related to COVID or unofficially related to COVID? Do we know? Is that?
I believe they have not said it's related to COVID, but it's
people
like a blood thinning thing.
And people kind of think it's probably connected.
It sounds like connected. It sounds like a COVID symptom thing.
Okay.
They did not say COVID.
Is Kjerstad, and I'm sorry, I should know this, but is he in spring training? Like, is he going to play in spring training games?
They said he would be a late entry to spring training, so I do not believe he is in Sarasota yet.
Okay.
So he's probably going to just – he was on the list to get the Sarasota invite, but he's probably just going to be over to, what is it, Twin Parks? Or
Twin Lakes, yeah.
Twin Lakes, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He's another guy in the minors I'm really curious to watch. Just because
not a guy that was going to make anything this year.
No, he's next year at the earliest.
Yeah, and a guy who we're looking to, if he impresses in the minors and Rushman impresses in the minors, that's when you can get started to get excited for 2022. If those guys force their way into next year's roster.
Yeah, I saw a really impressive. I know we keep wrapping up here, but I saw a very impressive interview with DL Hall on Fangraphs talking about, his competitive nature and his pitching. So it just got me even more excited for him.
Yeah. No,
we thought he was going to be drafted by the Kansas City Royals, and then he was surprised he was drafted by the Orioles.
No, I think the future of this Orioles team is strong. So I think the more I see of these young guys, the more I see stuff like Trey Mancini's local recent press conferences and stuff, he comes across as a leader and stuff. And all that is good for when you're building towards this future team. So it's fun that baseball's back. It's fun to have hope for a team and not just, who knows.
Yeah, and I meant to get into this, but we never got into it. There was that issue with the Mariners GM who was recently fired over comments on, a bunch of different comments. But one of the comments that he got a lot of heat for was saying there was no way he was bringing up any young players because he didn't want to start their service clock.
Which is something that we all know, but you're not allowed to say it out loud?
Yeah, and related to that story is Jarek Kelenic, their top prospect. Apparently, as he tells it, if he would have signed a contract in the offseason, he would have started the team with the Mariners. But because he refused to sign their contract they offered him, they said he's going to start in the minors, which that's messed up.
Yeah,
that's directly related to the service time, right? Because if you sign a contract, service time no longer matters.
Right.
But it's pretty much saying, like, you're good enough to make the team, but you're not because of service time. And so I think that's added a lot of pressure. Chris Bryant has spoken out about this. A lot of players are speaking out about service time. Mm-hmm. And a guy who appears to be ready for the majors is Adley Rutschman. Everyone says this dude's ready for the majors. Right. Well, I wonder how much pressure Mike Elias will feel from other players and the industry to push him up. I think it's something interesting to watch.
Yeah, I don't see that this year. I see all that pressure is not about this year. All that pressure is setting up for the CBA negotiations next year.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, and how they manage that without bringing in a salary cap and what they do. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
You got any ball fours this week?
Oh, shoot, running over. Yeah, I got a couple of quick ones. We can do it next week, but go ahead.
Let's do a quick ball four segment.
All right, let's do it quick. Go ahead.
All right. My first one is I'm trying to find a lot of different podcasts and shows and stuff to stay away from politics. So a new podcast I've been listening to now for probably a month or so, and it's one of my favorite podcasts now, is Two Bears in One Cave. And it's Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura just talking about whatever comes to the top of mind. So I'd say people should check that podcast out if you want a nice distraction from life.
All right. Fair enough. My ball two.
Ball two.
It is the mall. It is
the mall. Do malls still exist?
Josh, not only do they still exist, we need to start building more malls. I'll tell you what. The weather this entire week has been cold and wet.
You mean like indoor malls?
Yes.
They're not open, are they?
Yes. Josh, when it's cold and wet, what can you do with your kids? Nothing. There's and especially now with so many indoor places. I'm taking my kids to the mall. We've been to the mall probably 3 times this past month.
What mall are you going to?
We go to Annapolis Mall.
Are stores open?
Yeah, all the stores are open. You got to wear a mask, and there's number of people. We had to wait outside Lego store.
But the kids play area isn't open, is it?
All those are shut down. But it doesn't matter. My kids, it's like half empty. Like there's no one at the mall. Who go to the mall? So my kids just run around like crazy around the mall, having a good old time.
And you haven't gotten COVID yet?
No, there's no one there.
No one there. Okay.
No, so the mall needs to come back because there's not enough places to take your kids indoors where they can run around and be crazy. So malls, you guys need to hang in there.
I think
and not go out of business.
I'm pretty sure malls are dying, right?
Amazon is killing them, and that can't happen. Amazon and Walmart are trying to kill them, but that can't happen. And just online in general, and not leaving your house in general. But we need to bring the malls back because people with young kids, They need them all. I went there the other day on Sunday. It was me and a bunch of old women who does their walking in the morning, because we got there at 10 before the stores open. Stores don't open till 11. We get there at 10 and all the women walkers and my kids running around.
Yeah, I used to work at the Annapolis Mall. I worked at many stores for many years at Annapolis Mall.
I know you worked at Chick-fil-A right there.
I worked at Chick-fil-A. I worked at the Sunglass Hut. I worked at the watch stand. Me and the boys from Good Charlotte all worked at the Annapolis Mall at the same time together.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got to know.
Well, the mall's still kicking.
I got to know the morning walkers crew and all that, because you'd have to be in there for them. Yeah. So, yeah, I remember that old time at the mall.
Yep.
All right, ball 3. Have you seen the Mo Gabba bobblehead?
I have. That's very cool.
I love bobbleheads. And Jeremy Kahn has put together a Mo Gabba bobblehead that he will be selling.
A talking bobblehead.
Oh, yeah. It's a talking bobblehead. It's got the nice button.
With Mo Gabba's voice, and his laugh.
Right, I've got a Chuck Thompson bobblehead that talks.
Ain't the beer cold, sure.
And it's very similar. So the Mo
I get a Blippy.
Right, and he said that he's selling it, but I don't think hasn't been listed yet, but obviously all the money's going to John Hopkins or cancer research or something. So definitely make sure you're looking online for Jeremy Kahn and the Mo Gabba bobblehead.
That's a hot ticket. Good luck getting your hands on one of those babies.
Oh, I'm ordering one as soon as he puts it out.
I'm not, but I think it's going to sell out quick.
It will. He's going to sell. I don't know how many he's making, but they will.
It doesn't matter. He's going to sell them out. Yeah, he's going to sell them all.
Yep.
All right, my ball 4 again. Where do you take kids? Josh, seriously, COVID days, cold, rainy, all week. Where do you take kids?
Well, you already told me you take them to the mall.
Yep. And then the mall's too far away to go to Annapolis all the time. So today I took them, and we go here once or twice a week.
DMV?
No, though sometimes we hit up the dollar store a lot, which I guess we hit up the dollar store a lot too.
Chick-fil-A, they have the play place open?
No, you can't even go inside Chick-fil-A here. You can't even go inside and eat and order food. It's just drive-through.
Okay.
No, but so there's not that many restaurants and stuff open. But we go to, there's a local coffee shop. Shout out to Dessert First here on Ken Island. And they sell ice cream and lattes. And so today, and we've been doing here a lot, I'll get my latte, hang out. The kids will get their ice cream and run around this little coffee shop. It's one of the few open places. So shout out for local coffee shops as well.
All right, coffee shops. Good thing. I prefer the Dunkin' Donuts.
Again, Dunkin' Donuts is not open inside.
Oh, okay. I don't have I have Camden, but I don't take little kids. I hit the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through each morning, is what I should say.
Okay, that's fair. I'm more Dunkin'. I've tried a latte from there. I love a vanilla latte. That's my go-to drink. And Dunkin' makes a good coffee, but their vanilla latte, and I'm sure a good tea for you, Josh. But the vanilla lattes are very subpar there. They're not very hot, and they're not good, so I don't go there for my lattes.
Okay, well, you are correct. I am a tea guy, and that's what I get at Dunkin'.
I know.
A unsweet tea and 2 apple fritters, probably 3 mornings a week at the Dunkin'. Enough that I went through the drive-through, and they knew my order before I opened my mouth.
You got the app? I bet you get a bunch of free stuff in there on the app, right?
No, that's a good point. I don't have the app.
You don't have the app?
I don't have the app.
Oh, my gosh. Even I have the Dunkin' Donuts app.
That is something that I should check out.
I get a free coffee every Monday. Shoot.
All right, I got to check out the app.
Yeah, get the app. All right, boys and girls. Yeah, that's my ball 5, the Dunkin' Donut app. That's a good app. Good deals on there. All right, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Here, Josh, break down the spring training, break down the Orioles squad. We'll be watching when we can. We'll be watching all the spring training games that we're allowed to watch. Bunch of dictators, not letting us watch all our baseball games. Free the birds. And we'll be here every week to break it down. You can follow us, like us on Facebook, give us 5 stars, join your fellow coconuts. Go to Section 336 Patreon to support us.
There's a support button at the top where you can support us with a little $3.36 a month. There's some more expensive options if you really want to send all your money to us. But we would appreciate the $3.36 if you can spare that so we can keep this thing commercial free.
Yeah, and a shout out to Birdland Sports. You can find us after every Orioles home game after every Orioles game once the regular season starts for our post-game coverage.
We've been having some good preseason, just weekly topics on Wednesdays, Thursday nights, just talking about Orioles. And we had some great conversations with about 6 different guys. So make sure you're checking out Birdland Sports on all your sites and subscribe and give 5 stars to the Birdland Tonight podcast.
That's right. You can follow me on Twitter at Section336. You can follow Josh on Twitter
At Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.